Hiya! Hello world, it's Rome Madison here with the Empower series, and we just did an amazing program, Vision Quest, 4 keys to clarity and focus. Those keys to clarity and focus are important because no matter what goals you have, no matter what vision you have of yourself, no matter where you want to be a year from now, it means nothing if you don't have the right mindset and a strategy to get there. Those 4 keys is understand why you want what you want. When times get tough, and they're gonna get tough, you need to be clear about why it's important to you to keep going. The second thing you need to do is define the vision by setting your goals. The goals are important, but goals keep you on track. You gotta have something to shoot for. It's not that you work on the goals, it's that the goals work on you. The third key to clarity and focus is discipline. You can't do nothing if you can't be disciplined. You can't stick to it. You can't be pulled apart from it. You need disciplines and habits in your life to keep moving forward towards those goals. And the fourth one is the shortcut to success in life, and that's mentorship. You need to find mentors, someone who can hold you accountable, someone who can give you advice that you may not already have, somebody who's walked the path that you want to walk. Those 4 keys to clarity and focus are going to get you to where you want to go. You can follow me at Rome Madison and all my social media platforms, romemadison.com, but be sure to latch on and follow the Empower series sponsored by Comerica Bank. It's something that will enrich your life, and I guarantee it'll bless you. We'll see you soon. First of all, I commend all of you for being here today because you showed up for yourself. You showed up to invest in yourself. Your time, your energy. You could be doing a whole lot of other things on Saturday morning and the first day that it's going to turn 70 degrees after a whole week of freezing, but you showed up to pour into yourself. So I commend you for that. I'm going to jump right into it. I will tell you right now that what I have for you, this is a half day to a full day's workshop that we can go into talking about your dreams, your vision, your strategy to build something that is an idea or a concept in your mind. But I'm going to give you the best of what I can in the time that we have afforded. But for me, I'm a consultant and a speaker. My consultant firm is the Superstar Academy. I work with the life science industry. Now, many of you who may not be scientists, the life science industry is the industry that any technology, any pharmaceuticals, any diagnostic, any type of science that accesses the human genome. I also speak to professional associations and corporations. I help them identify patterns of complacency by creating a culture of innovation. This is today. What you see here may be God's glory, but what I always tell people is you don't know the story, right? And it's the same for all of us. Now, I'm from Denison, Texas. I'm going to attempt to snatch any excuse that you have for any vision or any goal that you have, and we all come up with those excuses or, well, I got this to do and time and all this stuff. I'm going to attempt to snatch that away from you from the very beginning. I'm from Denison, Texas. Anybody know where that is? I'm a country boy. I grew up with my grandfather, raised by a single mother on welfare who raised 3 kids. The father figure in my life was my grandfather. My grandfather had a pig farm. I literally grew up somebody 2 generations ahead of me. I was slopping pigs and picking corn and baling hay. I was not a millennial growing up on social media. Look, I'm first generation middle class, me and my wife. So when I grew up, I just did not know the life that I'm living today was even available to me. My key to growing up was football. So I played football. I earned a full scholarship to the University of Missouri. That meant a lot to me because my mother was our first college graduate in our entire family, but she was not able to use her degree or her education to really better the lives of our family because my mother suffered from mental illness most of her adult life. So I worked ever since I was 12 years old, working to help pay bills and support my mother. My goal was to set my mom up because she worked so hard to take care of us. So after I went to school, played football all 4 years at the University of Missouri, I did not make a career in the NFL. I went to Canada. I went to the Arizona Cardinals, but because of injury, my career was over. I got into sales. Back that up. I did graduate with a 2.5 GPA and a general studies degree. Now, I see y'all faces. Don't judge me. Now, if that resume comes across your desk, what are you going to think of that person? Next, I hear you. Hey, what are you even applying for? And that is the experience that I had trying to find a job after life after football. But I got into sales because I figured if you can teach a monkey to do something, you can teach me to do anything. I was successful in sales, but I reached a period in my life, a season in life, where I became unemployed. Has anybody ever faced a season like that? How many of you know it's easier to get a job when you already got a job? So for a year, I was unemployed. I almost lost everything I worked for. In that same year, I was unemployed. My mother called me, living 500 miles away, and says, hey, I need some money. And I'm thinking to myself, why do you need this money? Long story short, we got into this knockdown, drag out argument about her needing money. I'm unemployed. Like, why do you need this money? A month later, my brother calls me from my mom's house, says, hey man, the cops are here. They're taking the stuff off the wall, the things out of the cabinet. They're putting in bags and trash bags and throwing mama's stuff out on the curb. You see, what we had learned in hindsight, that my mother, who suffered from mental illness most of her adult life, had her third and most debilitating mental breakdown. My mother had quit her job or stopped going to work 6 months earlier, and she lost her job. Consequently, she lost her income, her health benefits, and today she was losing her home. My mother spiraled despite the best efforts of my family to rally around her, to help solve these problems, to help find out what's going on in her life, because this is all hindsight, understanding what happened with her job and her condition, but we just did not know. But my mother spiraled into a life of homelessness. And I'm not talking about the state of not having a house to live in. I've picked my mother up during this year that I was unemployed from Salvation Armies, homeless shelters, state hospitals, county hospitals. I've chased my mother around the state of Texas, desperately trying to find judges, attorneys, whoever I could to help me help my mother. And I had a judge look at me in my face and say, Mr. Madison, it's not illegal to be crazy. One day I woke up on the floor of my home, pitch dark. I don't know how long I'd been laying there, but when I tried to get off the floor, my face was stuck to the carpet because it was wet where I'd been crying. I tried to get up and I just couldn't get myself up off the floor. And it's not that I didn't have the physical strength to get up. I really didn't want to get up. Anybody understand the low moments of life? You see, that was then. My life that day was a mess. But today, my life's mess is my life's message. No matter where life takes you, no matter where you go through in life, you have the power and the ability to overcome it. You have something that's inside of you that will fortify you at moments, the down moments of life, that will bring you back from the worst devastation, the worst circumstances that you can ever possibly imagine. Because as I did mention, during that time that I was unemployed and I couldn't find a job, the only opportunity I had was to interview for a company that had a novel technology in healthcare, in research and development of cancer. That was 2004. I had to study and go to the medical school library, Barnes and Nobles, Borders Books. Y'all remember they did have stores once, right? Because back then there wasn't no Wikipedia. In 2004, no one had ever heard of Google. So I couldn't look this stuff up online. I literally had to spoon feed myself cancer to go interview for a job because I had no other opportunities. I got that job. That job paid me more in base salary than I'd ever made in my entire life. That was 2004. 2015, a major project in science and research and development finished, the Cancer Genome Atlas Project. It took 20 years to map the entire human genome. We know that there are over 27,000 genes in the human body, but today we only know the function of less than 300 of them. In 2005, that project finished. I was in that industry and I grew with the industry. 2010, the first studies came out that showed that precision medicine, basing therapy on targets, mutation, gene targets, yields better outcomes than physician's choice, where there's no standard of care in cancer. Front cover of the New York Times. 2012 comes around, Newsweek, precision medicine on the front cover. Time magazine, Precision medicine on the front cover. In 2014, President Obama and Joe Biden launched the Cancer Moonshot Initiative, which is the government's backing of cancer research and development of precision medicine. Today, I am a genomic sales expert. I've left the industry where I've grown. In my last company I worked for, I was a senior vice president for a company based out of Los Angeles. I now have a consulting firm that works with these startups that have little known technology, novel technology that they're trying to bring out of research and commercialize. I work with them to help scale their organizations. And I speak in organizations and professional associations about the power of innovation and building an innovative culture. That's me and my story. But I know you have a story too. And your story is just as powerful, just as impressive, more impressive than my story or anybody else's story. You see, that's my journey. The reason why we're here together is because we are stronger together than we are as individuals. We are the economy. And I'm going to just step down off the stage because I have to work my thing here. But there's a reason why you came here. Number one, your network equals your net worth. If you read the book Freakonomics, they talk about your net worth is the sum average of your 5 closest friends. If you don't like what you see in your bank account, look at what's around you. I tell young people, if you're the smartest one in your circle, your friend circle, you need new friends. They look at me like I'm crazy. What you talking about? They like being the smartest person, but you need people to stretch you and challenge you. The reason why it's important that we're here together is because together we create wealth. You see, your expertise may not be my expertise, but I know Akili and he works in financial services. I need to know people in financial services. Why? Not necessarily because of me, because I know people who need him. It's important for us to be here together because we're connectors. We're the fabric of our community. And someone in financial services needs to know an attorney. Attorneys need to know people who are not attorneys because other attorneys are not going to send them cases. Together, we build the community economy. And it's important that we work together because we understand the power of strategic relationships. Perfect example in business today is AT&T. I saw a commercial where AT&T Cellular says if you come to AT&T Cellular and get an iPhone with a new plan, we'll give you a second iPhone for free and we'll give you a year's worth of DirecTV. Now that's the power of a strategic relationship, right? Well, guess what? I'm AT&T Cellular. I'm looking for the iPhone in this room, and we also need to find who DirecTV is. Because together, we win. There is none of us that are smarter and better than all of us. And that's why it's important. But here's the thing. You heard my story. You understand why it's important that we stay here together. But you came for something today. How many of you have a larger vision of yourself a year from now? You want to be somewhere. You have larger goals. You have a larger vision of where you want to be a year from now. Show of hands. How many of you who have these larger goals, one of those goals is to earn more money? I got news for you. It's going to be a fight. Whatever you want in life, that vision of where you see yourself a year from now, it's going to be a fight because other people want what you want. And it's not going to be easy. But here's the thing. You have to understand who you're fighting or what you're fighting. There is a huge opponent standing between you and what you want this time next year. Those of you who came and heard me speak yesterday, I'm going to ask the same question, so y'all just don't say nothing. Who is your biggest opponent that's going to keep you from what you want? You. That is the exact question, the exact answer that everybody always gives. But let me tell you something. That is a part of it, but there is a larger opponent that you need to personify. Because when you know you're in a fight, you can't be complacent. I help companies fight complacency by identifying patterns of complacency in their organization that may not take root today, but over time, you lose revenue and market share because of that complacency. Ladies and gentlemen, the biggest opponent that you fight that is going to keep you from getting what you want is complacency. Here's why. If you're complacent, the market will commoditize you. Is that a good or a bad thing? Bad. Why is that a bad thing? I see the wheels turning. What's that? Why is that? Well, here's the thing. It's okay to work for somebody, don't get me wrong, because there's a lot of great opportunities working for organizations. But let me make this clear for you why complacency is bad, because you become commoditized. All the market forces in the world want you to be a commodity. And if you are complacent about your professional brand, about your professional development, or your business, you will become a commodity. Here's why. If you run a business, you're a business owner, or you work for an organization and you manage a business unit, your customer wants you to be a commodity. Why would the customer want you to be a commodity?
You're not unique. You can't charge any extra for being just like the guy on the other side of the street.
Paya, hello world. You see, when you're a commodity, you're not different. You're just like everybody else. And if the customer sees you as being just like everybody else, that allows them to make their buying decision based on the lowest common denominator, which is usually price or location or referral from a friend. How many of y'all got a referral from a friend and did business with that person or that business and it wasn't about nothing? Right? You want to stand out. You want to be distinguished from everyone else who does what you do. Not only if you run a business, but if you work for a business, there's other people competing for the raises, the promotions, and the positions that you want. How are you going to distinguish yourself? So the customer wants you to be a commodity. There's someone else who wants you to be a commodity, your competition. Why does your competition want you to be a commodity? They want you to be a commodity because if they can convince everyone that you're just like everybody else, they can separate themselves as being special, different, and charge a premium for their services and earn more money in less time than you do. Your customer wants you to be a commodity. Your competition wants you to be a commodity. If you work for someone, your employer really wants you to be a commodity too. Why?
Their biggest bottom line is employee expense, and so if you're a commodity, then their expenses are lower.
If you're a commodity, you're replaceable. They will replace you with cheaper and less experienced talent, which actually costs them money, but that's a pattern of complacency that I work with them on. Complacency is the biggest opponent that we all face in the room. And if you want the things on the top shelf that you've never been able to reach before, if you have a vision of yourself that is larger, that inspires you, but you know you're not there yet, the opponent that you fight is being complacent about your vision. And no matter what your vision is, no matter how compelling your goals are, all of it means nothing if you don't have the right mindset and a strategy to get there. So what I want you to do is that you came here for something. You heard the title of this presentation. You follow the Empower series. You came here hoping to get something. So I want you to set an intention. What do you hope to leave here with today? What do you hope to gain? And I want that to be your focus to make sure you get it. And if you don't get it, grab me after and say, hey, you didn't give me what I was looking for. But set an intention. Anybody want to share? It's okay if you don't. It's personal. Yes, sir.
My intention is to gain insight, to be more productive.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Focus.
Focus. Good segue into where we are now. In order to accomplish a vision, you got to define the vision. Yes, ma'am. Sorry.
Okay, so mine is moving from activity to accomplishment.
Many people do believe that activity equals productivity. We're going to get into that right now. In order to get what you want, you have to be able to define the vision. And sometimes that's the hardest part. Can anybody tell me, because I used to be confused about this too, can anybody tell me the difference between a vision and a goal?
I think a goal has a timeline. It has achieved measurement.
Very good, yeah. Yeah. Anyone else? Yes.
I see a goal as a timeline and a vision as a destination.
I like that. I used to believe that my vision were the things that I wanted, the car, the house, the vacations, the things that I wanted, the accoutrements that made life more enjoyable, right? That's what I thought my vision was. But goals aren't vision. You guys did a great job in defining that. But my vision, what I've learned, your vision is how you see yourself. You see, you have a vision of where you want to be this time next year. Goals are important, and we'll go over that in a minute because they keep you on track. Les Brown says you don't get in life what you want, you get in life what you are. You need to become the person who can accomplish the things that you want to accomplish. You need to become the person who can attract the people who have the resources, opportunity, and information to help you open the doors that you need to experience the things that you want to experience in life. So when you define the vision, the first thing you have to do is make a decision. Now, my lovely wife, Kimberly, we have this thing that I've learned because I've been married for 8 years. We driving down the highway, maybe come back from church, and I'll ask her in plenty of time, what do you want to eat? Now, my wife will answer that question by saying, well, I don't want this. I don't want that. We pass a restaurant, and it's, we drive 20 miles to church, so I understand there's plenty of restaurants. Whoa, what about this? I don't want that. Now, my question was, what do you want? But the way she's answering me is telling me everything she doesn't want. But in my learned wisdom in being married, I've learned that might be a good thing because many times the last thing you find out is the first thing you need to do. Sometimes it's a process of elimination when you're trying to define your vision. You need to think about the things and be clear about what you want, and sometimes that means identifying what you know you don't want. In order to make room for what you want in your life, you need to be willing to step away from what you don't want. That's more than a statement. Because some things that we don't want, we like. Some things aren't good for us, but they show are good to us. Relationships, habits. We want to get to the vision of where we see ourselves, but we know that person wouldn't put up with the things that we put up with today. We want to get to the vision of the person that we see ourselves being, but that person that we see ourselves being cannot do that with the habits that we have today. So we have to be razor sharp focused on what our vision is and how we see ourselves, because that speaks to us and informs us of what we need to do today. Those questions up there, write those down, because maybe you don't have the answers to these, but a powerful statement by Tony Robbins. He says, the quality of the answers that we get in life are determined by the quality of the question that you ask. The quality of the answers you get in life are determined by the quality of the question that you ask. What do you want more of? This goes into defining a vision. Now, the first time I was asked that question, everything was my answer. I want more of everything. I want more fun. I want more love. I want more joy and all that stuff. And that's great. Those things are good. But when you're defining a vision and you're trying to get somewhere, you need to be razor sharp focused on what you really want. So what do you want more of? Secondly, what do you want less of? Less procrastination, less debt, less foolishness, less stress. The third thing, what do you need to say no to in 2008? Some of us know what we need to say no to, but we hesitate to say no because we don't want to affect our relationship with those things. And sometimes that relationship is not people. Sometimes that relationship is with money. I got to say no to spending this money. I know that I'm paying $300 for cable, but I can't save for my investment or my emergency fund, but I sure like to have my DVR. I got to record my shows. But them shows ain't going to put no money in your bank account. What do you need to say no to in 2008 in order to get what you want? Those are decisions that you have to make. Secondly, when you're defining the vision, I don't want you to forget that you are a creator. Every single one of you in this room are born to be a creator. Say, I'm a creator. I'm a creator. When I made a decision to go out on my own, to start formulating that vision of going out on my own and creating my own consulting firm for the life science industry, I had to make some hard choices because I had a fantastic income. I remind you, because I attempted to snatch your excuses from you from the very beginning. You heard my story. You know I got a 2.5 GPA and a general studies degree, and y'all faces was like, what? But here I am, a senior vice president in the healthcare industry in a very innovative space, the hottest space in healthcare. And I had to tear myself away from the security of getting that paycheck and them commissions and the title. I loved handing my card to people in the industry. They say, oh, senior vice president. There's not many brothers in the industry at all, but wow. I had to tear myself away emotionally from that in order to give myself to my vision. And then when I actually made the step, I really wasn't that committed because I had made the leap, but I was still holding out as I was approaching companies. Well, maybe they'll actually, hire me and pay me a salary and I can still try to work on my, developing my speaking career. Well, maybe this. And I did not make a decision that I was really an independent, that I really did not want to work for someone else. It wasn't until I defined it by putting pen to paper as to what I really wanted and defined the vision. Don't take your creative power for granted. Everything that was ever created had to be written first. This table, and clothes you got on, this building. Somebody had to write something. Somebody had to physically put something on paper. In order for it to exist, it has to be written. I love this quote. Many of you have maybe heard this quoted in church, worship service. Habakkuk 2. The writer says, write the vision and make it plain upon the tablets that he may run that read it. That informs us of three things specifically about what you write down. Number one, your vision has to be specific. It has to be specific. It doesn't necessarily have to be realistic to you today. And that's a hard one. When we set goals, sometimes we get wrapped up into the goal setting process and it becomes an activity to check the box, and that's just accomplishment in itself. We're going to get into this in a minute. But the reason why you want to be specific, no matter how outlandish it is because, again, Scripture tells us all things are possible to he who believes. You may not believe your vision or your goal with some real integrity right now. And if you allow yourself to stay there and say, well, that's not really realistic, it holds no power. But you are a creator. As you write it down, you have to remember that all things are possible. So you can start, no matter how outlandish that vision is, by saying it's possible. That night on the floor of my home, did I think today would be possible? Heck no. I literally thought I was going to lose everything I had. I was going to go back to Denison, Texas, sell cars or something. I was just trying to survive. You see, the situation that I was in then is the same way that many people are today. You see, my mother, somebody I love so dearly, was lost. But something that you love dearly, your dream and your vision, is lost. You see, if my mother wasn't alive, I wasn't alive. Some of you, if your dream is not alive, you're not alive. Don't sacrifice that, and don't underestimate your power as a creator. You have power in what you do. It has to be written, it has to be specific, and it has to inspire you. Every time you read it, you need to jump out of bed. My wife tells me I sleep like a cat. Whenever I go to bed at night, my head hits the pillow, I'm sleeping 30 seconds, no matter what I've been doing. No matter how much or how little sleep I've gotten, when my alarm goes off, I fling the cover off. I'm gone. Because my dream, my vision motivates me. I got stuff to do. What about yours? Does your dream or your vision motivate you to get up out of bed? To get up and get running, to get organized, to make sure you move forward each day by just a little bit, no matter what else you got to do, no matter how many obligations you have. What is your vision doing for you on the inside? Your vision has to motivate you. Write this down. This would be an exercise that we would do if we had the half day. But write down what the ideal day is for you 5 years from now, if you're moving in the direction or if you've accomplished your vision. From start to finish, what would that day look like?
You mean like more or less a work, like a work involved, like a business volleyball?
Sure.
Social,
You define it. You create it. So I'll give you an idea. I would take my kids to school. I would get them up. I cook breakfast for them. My wife would be still asleep. I take my kids to school. I come home. I fix my wife a cup of coffee. We sit down. We have a chat. Then I start going to my office and I start writing. By 12 noon, I'm answering emails. Afternoon, I'm returning phone calls. It's things like that. Whatever your life is. Now, that's my vision. And I got a whole lot of other stuff, that color that picture for me. But what is it for you? Whatever it is, that vision has to move you. It has to inspire you. So I'm going to get into the 4 keys. The 4 keys to accomplishing any vision. Sure, it's great to have a great vision. We all have goals. But on the process of accomplishing your goals and your dreams, it's going to get hard. Life kicks in. Life happens to us all. Setbacks, misfortune, stuff we didn't think about. But the thing that's going to keep you focused, that's going to keep you a certain level of tenacity in you to keep moving toward that dream or that vision, is understanding why you want what you want. Why do you want what you want? Why is it important that it's now? Why is it important that you do something now? Not next year, not next month, now, today, something that moves you toward that goal. And there's so many areas that you can do that. You can make a phone call. You can read a book or an article. You can search online. You can connect with somebody via social media. You can work on a skill. You can improve your relationship. You can reach out to your network. You can create a new network. There's something that can be done every day, despite the fact that we all work. Work kind of takes over our lives sometimes. We have family. We have friends. We have family that ain't our friends. All those things are going to happen to us all, but you need to be clear about why you want what you want, why your vision is important to you, and why it's important to do it now. Here's the other thing. Why you? Why you? This speaks to our sense of worthiness. Sometimes our vision is compelling, but internally we don't feel like it's right. Like we don't identify that person a year from now. Man, that person inspires me, but today I'm just not that person. You have to understand why you. Why are you worth it? The second thing is you need to set a goal. Now, I'm not going to talk about goal setting because there's 100 books, there's 100 things that you can look at on goal setting. So I'm not going to go into a process of goal setting, but you got to know that you need a system. If you need a system, Google goal setting, there's 100 of them that come up. It'll work it if you work it. But I want to attack this from a mindset standpoint as to why people don't get what they want from goal setting. How many of you set New Year's resolutions? Okay, cool. I don't, but I do set goals. But here's why you don't get what you want. Some people treat it like a one-time thing. Now, it's good to set New Year's resolutions. It's even better to write them down. But some people write them down and don't even remember where they wrote them. They write them on a piece of paper. You know, you're stacked on top of clutter on your desk, and where are they now? By March, you're like, man, what did I say I was going to do? But you treat it like a one-time event. You never revisit them. You don't keep them in front of you, and it loses its power. By that time, life is taken over, and your focus is on the immediate needs of everything you need to do. You don't read your goals, and most importantly, your goal is weak as water. Your goal has to inspire and empower you. When you read it, it has to refill you, refresh you, put something in you. So you need a system. The important thing to remember about goals, the goal itself, yes, they're important. Yes, they keep you on track. Yes, they're powerful. But here's the thing about goals. Bill Bartman, a billionaire business owner, he was one of the owners of the Chicago Bulls when Michael Jordan was there winning championships. I took this away from something that he said years ago. He said how he got to where he got, how he got to owning the Bulls, is that he reviewed his goals 20 minutes every day. Sometimes it only took him 5, sometimes it only took him 10, but he reserved 20 minutes in his day to review his goals. What that does for you is if you write a goal on January 1st, if you read them and review them every day and you're engaged with them, that goal may be slightly different on February 1st, but that's good. Here's why. You start to realize that you don't work on the goal. The goal works on you. As long as you're keeping these things in front of you, you start to transform. Your mind and your subconscious starts to work on that goal when you're not actively engaged in that goal. It's the picture of the iceberg. If you can metaphorically envision that on the screen of your mind, the iceberg, what we see above the water, is only about 20% of the iceberg. But 80% of that iceberg's mass is below the surface of the water that we cannot see. That is a metaphor of how your mind works on your goal and your vision. Consciously, you're only actively conceiving about 20% of your brain's capacity and your potential. But if you keep it in front of you, the 80% of that goal and that vision is your subconscious. And when you're asleep, your mind is working on that thing. If you keep that goal and that vision in front of you, if you're actively engaged in it. So your goals can't be weak. You can't write them and forget them. You got to read them and be consistent about what you're doing. third key to clarity and focus is you need discipline. You got to be disciplined in your vision. Discipline, a lot of people equate that to, a negative thing, but it's got to be disciplined. You see, even when I was working for an employer and I enjoyed my work, I liked what we did, but there was nothing that could tear me away from the vision every single day of what I was going to do and what my life was going to be like when I'm not working for them. Would I be doing the same things? Absolutely. You see, I understood that I had the capacity and the talent to make millions for them, and they paid me handsomely. But I also knew that same talent, that same knowledge, I owned. So if I did that for myself, maybe I made 10 million for them, but I'll be cool with just $1 million for me because it's all for me. You have to be disciplined in your effort. You can't stop. It's an everyday thing trying to reach that goal or that vision. And you have to be disciplined with the fundamentals of your craft. What we're talking about is mastery. You see, the enemy of greatness is good. You ever anybody say, "Oh, I'm good. I'm good." A year from now, they still good. But what can you do to improve yourself? Even if you have a great skill and somebody tells you that you're good at something, how can you improve that skill in order to be amazing? Right? Yesterday, I told the folks that we were speaking to that I loved to sing growing up, and I used to run track in high school. And, I was back in the 90s, that's when hip hop was coming up, but we still sang. So our track team, we was notorious everywhere we went. It was like the boys from Denison, they could sing. So we would get together and we start singing like between the prelims and the finals, we had the lunch period, right? So people told me I could sing. And that's all I wanted to be as good because all my goals was to have girls come up and tell me I was cute and I could sing. That's all I wanted. Even today, my wife tells me, "Boy, you missed your calling. You could have been somebody." But if I would have taken that talent seriously and tried to master that gift, man, I could be Babyface today or somebody. You know what I'm saying? Never too late. Yeah, man. Give me a couple fellas. We can do this thing. Maybe not Babyface. Okay, I could have been like a member of a group. Guy in the back. Who he don't ever lead, but he all right. So you have to be disciplined. The fourth key to clarity and focus is mentors. Everyone who is great or considered the best in the world at what they do has a mentor or a coach. I never forgot from that time, that night on the floor. It's through that experience and recovering from that experience and changing my mindset to get clear and get focused, not on what I wanted to become today, but just clear and focused on what my next step was. Because as you accomplish one thing, as you accomplish one goal or one vision, the vision doesn't stop, it just grows. So just don't stop. And then it's important to find yourself a mentor or a coach, because that's the shortcut to success. Mentors are there to hold you accountable. They're there to teach you the path that you want to try, the experiences that they had, because without a mentor or a coach, you're just going to go bump your head and stub your toe to the point where you might get tired and quit. But if you have a mentor or a coach, they make that path much easier to navigate. These are people who I consider my mentors. Kenny Lattimore, people used to tell me I look like Kenny Lattimore. We obviously are from the same tribe because I've seen him on a couple of different occasions, and he's become a friend, and he encouraged me. We were talking several years ago about writing books. He wanted to write a book. And I saw him years ago when I wrote my first book, 101 Star Points, and I told him about it. He told me he wanted a copy. And that's him, me signing my copy and giving it to him. That was a monumental moment for me, to have somebody like him that I looked up to pour into me when I was only thinking about something. It was just a possibility at that time. But he, someone who's accomplished, said, man, you need to do that. You have it in you to do. And then coming back and showing him that, he was very proud of me. Top left, Joe Bogus. I'm working on a podcast now for salespeople. This guy in 2015 and 2016 had one of the #1 podcast downloads in the world, 85,000 downloads a month. He taught me how to create a podcast and launch a podcast. Keep that in mind, because I want everybody to help me with that in a few months. This guy over here, Victor Antonio, one of the #1 sales speakers in the world. I was working a conference with a mentor of mine, and he was one of the featured speakers. I got a chance to get the microphone and warm the crowd up before someone came up. I was working with him behind the scenes, talking to him about how he did things and how he did it. But when he heard me get on the mic, after he finished, he came to me and said, man, you have the speaking gift. Don't waste it. What? This dude is one of the #1 sales speakers in the world. He's telling me I have a gift and don't waste it? Marsha Weeder, 4 times on Oprah, America's Dream Coach. Willie Jolly, Willie and his wife Dee. My wife, Kimberly, and I got a chance to sit with them in their house. They gave us a signed copy of his last book, Love, Money, Sex, Love, and Money, Make It Last. Eli Davidson, Del Toro McNeil, one of the top speakers in the world right now. He is my mentor, my father in the speaking business. Brendan Bouchard, the Millionaire Maker. Laura Langmeyer. I've done business with her. Fantastic woman. Smart woman about making money. This guy right here, Dr. Dennis Kimbrough. This comes full circle for me. This is a very important moment in my speaking career, because in that process when I was in school and I couldn't make a living playing football, and in my self-pity, one of my first mentors gave me Think and Grow Rich, A Black Choice. When I didn't have any idea what I was going to do, I couldn't get a job. People told me I stink with my 2.5 GPA and my general studies degree. But that book was the first book I ever read that changed my life. Last month, the last Empower series, he was the speaker. And I was able to go up to him and tell him this story and thank him for his work and the profound impact that it had on my life. And by the way, Dr. Kimbrough, next month, I'm the speaker for the Empower series. What can you do? I'm sure most of you have a better GPA than I had. You have a more impressive resume than I had. Maybe you didn't have the struggles that I had, but you have struggles too. You see, all those things make you who you are today, and you have to own them. You don't let those experiences own you. Whatever it is that you want to accomplish, whatever goal you have, whatever dream you have, I'm here to tell you it's possible. My life is now dedicated to pouring and planting seeds into other people, to stretch your mind, to stretch how you see yourself and what's possible for you in your life and in your business. I have a daily question for you that I want you to write down, and it's helpful if you put it into your calendar that pops up at a certain time of the day to remind you of who you are going to be in the future. That vision. This daily question keeps that vision in focus. That daily question is, how would the person I would like to be do the things I'm about to do today? How would the person I would like to be do the things I'm about to do today? If you are a leader in an organization, you can ask that question this way. How would the organization that we would like to be do the things that we have to do today? My name is Rome Madison. I got wisdom for your mind and motivation for that behind. I would love to connect with you. If I can help you in any way, please let me know. Thank you.
I know that you talked about your start getting into life sciences, and then you did a little timeline about the process up to 2015. But in that time, did you experience any severe hardship just within your industry, or a time where you thought like maybe I need to redefine my vision or anything like that? Was there any times like that? Could you kind of briefly explain?
Absolutely. Almost every year. The biggest thing was, once I got the job, that's the first thing. I got the job. Then I was like suffering from that self-doubt that how am I, a person with 2.5 GPA general studies degree, okay, I did it well enough to get the job, but now I have to go up to physicians, oncologists, surgeons, pathologists, PhDs who are molecular physicists, and tell them how to use this information. I'm going to do that, right? Events that happened in life. Some years were good, some years weren't so good. But it goes back to everything that we just talked about. Understanding why you want what you want. Having that deep-seated belief in yourself that it's possible. And if you keep your eyes focused on the vision of the person you want to be and really think, okay, if I need to do that, what needs to happen for me to accomplish those things? And then you cannot escape doing the work. Not only the academic work, but the self-work, right? Fortifying yourself, surrounding yourself with people who pour into you and people who don't doubt you and tell you, what you doing that for, man? You could be doing something else. You really have to be sensitive to what's around you, because garbage in, garbage out.
So you were making millions of dollars, a paycheck, regular paycheck. How do you step away being an entrepreneur? That's very scary.
Yeah, it is.
How do you make yourself say, this is what I want, commit to it, and said, you got the support from your family, go for it. How do you get that through your head every day and say, hey, I make the right decision. I need to focus and get this, do this.
It's a daily struggle, still today. Last year, I cannot believe I worked all this time with my crazy GPA and degree, working to get to an executive level. And last year when I was engaging companies to work with them and see how we can create a relationship to work as a contractor, 7 times the company couldn't figure out, why would we hire you for 3 to 6 months? Well, we don't have a budget to hire you right now, but we do have a regional vice president position open. So why don't you come work for us in this capacity and we can just kind of use you how we want to. That was hard for me because I worked all this time to get to that level, and now I'm telling people no, right? It wasn't even possible in my mind 10 years ago that I would even make that kind of income. But now people are offering me these types of deals, and I'm telling them no because of how I see myself. Okay? You have to, it's about you and who you think you are, not what anybody says you are. Nobody, you have to really define that vision and be comfortable about who you are. It's about who you are. And you have to make everybody else see you as you see yourself. Because if you let them define you, if I let people define me based on my degree, based on my GPA, based on all these other factors, I would have never gotten there. But this is who I am, and you have to stand in your power of who that is. That's how you get there. And it's an everyday process. It's an everyday thing.
We got time for one more question. Who's bringing home?
Appreciate the insight, and I didn't expect any less. But Rome, what is your process for staying on top of industry knowledge? Obviously, you've compiled a great collective of information.
Yeah.
How do you continue to renew that? What's that process look like?
I'm glad you asked that question because especially in molecular oncology, it's called personalized medicine, genomics, if you will. I started several years ago. So after a while, and here's something I shared yesterday. It's called thinking like a 1%er. If you read a book, an article, an industry blog, or you followed a thought leader or somebody, and every day you sought out some information, to just read it for 20 minutes a day. If you did that consistently for 20 minutes a day, how would you position yourself a year from now? And you can pick any specific topic, annuities, stocks, hedge fund, whatever. You can know everything there is about that. So for me, with genomics, remember, I started in 2004 when it was, even before it was a thing. The Cancer Genome Atlas projects finished in 2005. So in that process, I learned all the knowledge there was to learn there. So then it was easy to stack it on. So a new study comes out, I can read a study like that. I read about 2 studies a day on CAR T therapy, immunotherapy, breast cancer research, targeted therapies, vaccines, everything in the knowledge, and I put that out on LinkedIn. Now, CEOs and people like that, they follow me. So now I've started to write blogs about the industry, speaking to CEOs and CCOs about the problems that I know that they deal with. So that's going to be a series that comes out. So how you do that is just you start small and just continue to absorb it, because after a period of time, there's no new information that you really don't know or you're not familiar with. And most people aren't going to do it. They're not going to do it. Some people might be an expert in breast cancer, but they don't know breast, lung, brain, esophageal, liver, kidney, fallopian tube, all those. Every single one, I know the standards of care, I know how they treat them, I know which doctors it's important to, and I know how to create conversations with these people, because it still sells at the end of the day. I know how to create conversations with these people, and that's what I give to these life science companies, who a lot of time their CEOs come from tech or any other thing, and they're not as experienced in the industry. That's my value to them. And you can do that in your industry with anything. Same process. It's about solving problems. We get paid to solve problems.
Hi, my name is Jared Scott. I'm here in Dallas, Texas at the Empower Series Saturday session with Rome Madison today. And wow, I can't really put words to how great this session was today. Less than an hour and a half, but I really got so much for it to help get me some focus into going into 2018. I have a lot of goals, just need to figure out how to harness that energy that I have to work my way towards my vision for this year. And Mr. Rome Madison, he definitely did a great job of telling his story and just really encouraging and giving us some great keys to help move towards a vision of who you want to be tomorrow and 5 years. You have to start being that person today. You have to start having that mindset of asking yourself the right questions of what can I do today? What would the person 5 years from now do right now in this situation? And how would they act in this situation to accomplish this goal? So I'm going to go from here and take that mindset moving forward. I just want to encourage everybody to jump in, come to a session. They happen monthly. I'm so glad I came. This isn't going to be my last. I got to look at the schedule to see what the next session is, because I know I'm going to get something from it. So I just encourage you to come on out. It's the beginning of the year. It's time to accomplish your goals for 2018. So come to Empower and you really enjoy it. Thanks a lot.
Hello, my name is Anastasia Robinson, and today I was here listening to Rome Madison, and he was a wonderful speaker talking about as far as the 4 steps to moving forward in your life. And I enjoyed that. I learned a lot today. I especially enjoy participating in the Empower Series. I think it's a really good opportunity. They meet every 3rd Saturday of the month, and it's really good as far as learning a lot of information to motivate, inspire, and just overall, just learn a lot about yourself and moving forward.